Yo, you guys, this is Blacklist of the Abyss, and you're watching my review for Trinity 7, Chapter 33. Now, this one starts off with the reveal that Abyss Trinity is actually Arata, and this causes a little bit of confusion, and Akio explains that in order to defeat Magic Kings and Magic King candidates, the Spriggans brought in, well, him. The Spriggans brought in Abyss Trinity, and he ends up explaining that the easiest way to kill a Magic King is to destroy their Magic King element, and that the most efficient way to do that is to bring in a Magic King from another world. Therefore, the Spriggans brought him in for this task. So he says that Arata is the Magic King candidate of this world, but he says it like singular. I don't know if that later on he says candidates, so again plural. So I don't know if this is a type of Magi type of thing where there are candidates to be king, but in the end there's only one. Um, but at the same time, there are also kings that are like rule over countries. Like there was a king of Balban, there's the king of Sindria, obviously. King of the well, not well, emperor of the Kill Empire, but you get the point. There are kings, but then there are kings who are chosen by Magi. So maybe this is something similar where there are Magic King candidates, but in reality there's a different tier of magic. There are people who can try to become Magic King candidates like Liez, but in reality there's only one true Magic King candidate in Arata. I don't know, maybe that's the way it is. Um, or maybe I'm just overthinking things and there's just a bunch of different candidates. One thing that got me intrigued was that he mentioned Magic Kings from other worlds. Assuming that there is really only one Magic King in this world, being Arata, who is like what Astral Trinity, I would assume that there is, I guess, 7 different worlds, and then there would be one Magic King for each of those worlds, and each Magic King would be a king of a different archives, Superbia, Luxuria, etc., etc. So that's what I'm thinking right now. 7 worlds, each one has a Magic King with a different archive. But after that stuff happens, Akio ends up asking Astral. Now I'm getting too confused. She ends up asking Abyss Trinity about her town, and he ends up telling her that he destroyed her town just to kill time because he was bored. And he also says that he might have just been testing to see if he could use the Magic King weapons of this world. So there are Magic King weapons in this world. Um, I guess Arata would learn how to use those at some point. I don't know what type of weapons they are, if they're legitimate weapons or just like different spells that only Magic Kings can use. Maybe it's something like the breakdown phenomenon, who knows? But I'm interested to see what these Magic King weapons are and, how Arata is going to use them eventually, or he'll eventually like try to learn how to use them if they're being brought up at this point in the story. But Akio hears that he just destroyed her town for the heck of it, just for fun, and she tries to beat him up. She goes to kick him, and he doesn't even dodge. He doesn't dodge. He doesn't block. He just stands there, and her attack does nothing. And then he decides to attack her back, and he knocks her out pretty quickly. According to Sora, the Luxuria Archive has a lot of different thema that are related to life and souls, and Abyss Trinity, his thema is Vanitas, which means nothingness in Latin, according to the scanlators. And pretty much it means that he can return anything to nothing. So he's pretty much Kumagawa from Medaka Box. He's incredibly OP, and he's broken. That's what he is. He's broken. But Arata decides that he's going to try and fight him anyway, so that he can get Lilith back. Before he actually attacks, though, he asks why Abyss Trinity is there, because his job, the reason why the Spriggans brought him, the reason why the Spriggans brought him there was so that he could defeat Magic Kings and Magic King candidates. But if he was really trying to kill Aratha, he would have done it already. So he asks him, why are you here? And he ends up talking about Lilith and saying that Lilith, and I quote, is the last key that connects this world together with all other worlds. So Lilith somehow is able to, well, maybe it has something to do with, never mind. I was going to bring up the first chapter and how Aratha kind of created his own world, but it's probably not, it's not the same thing at all. But Lilith can, she's somehow the link between all these worlds. I don't know how exactly she, I just don't know. We don't know much information at this point. All we know is that Abyss Trinity wants to use her to go back to his original world. That way he can regain his full strength. But we don't really know what it is about Lilith that makes her that link between the worlds. I'm sure as time goes on we'll be given more details, but after he gets done talking with Lilith, we actually focus a little bit on Rouge, and she does this thing where she pretends to escape, but in reality she's just trying to catch Abyss Trinity off guard and attack him. First she destroys those diamond things that are floating in the air, and then she immobilizes the dragon temporarily, and that allows Aratha to catch Abyss Trinity by surprise and go after Lilith. And when Abyss Trinity tries to attack him, he uses Liez, who uses Serena's magic, and they temporarily trap him in like the data thing. And Aratha, he actually tries to go get Lilith, but Liez ends up using the data thing on him as well. And Sora forces him to the ground, and they tell him, hey, right now we need to get out of here. We can go and save Lilith later, but right now we need to leave. And he does not agree with this decision at all, but they force him to leave anyway. And I'm assuming they teleport away because Abyss Trinity ends up doing this attack where it just blows this giant hole into the ground where you can't even see the bottom. So if they didn't teleport away, then they're dead. Aratha's the main character and he's not dead, therefore they got away. So yeah, that's it for the chapter. I'm not sure how I feel about that last development. I don't think leaving Lilith and saying we can go back to save her later is a good idea, seeing as though Lilith is the last link between the worlds, and if Abyss Trinity decides to go back to his world right away and take Lilith with him, then they would have no way of going to that other world to save Lilith. So, not exactly sure if I agree with that plan, but I'm sure things will work out since it's a manga. But other than that, I did enjoy the chapter. I did. In the end, I guess I'll give this chapter a 9 out of 10. We learned about Lilith. We learned about the other worlds. And we learned about Lilith being the link between those worlds. Abyss Trinity was just enjoyable throughout the entire chapter. Rouge had this cool scene, this double spread, where she took out all the diamond things at once. They all managed to escape. Well, I'm assuming all of them managed to escape, not just Sora and Aratha. That'd be bad if only those two escaped and they just left, like Rouge and Akio behind. But yeah, it was just a really enjoyable chapter. That end with Lilith, I'm not exactly thrilled about them leaving her behind, but since it's a manga, it's going to work out anyway, so I won't penalize the chapter or anything for it. But yeah, it was a very enjoyable chapter, so it gets a 9 out of 10. Great. But that's it for now. Rate, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.